You've had enough of that shit.
Well, let me tell you something, Villain Squad. The Detroit Lions woke up this morning and peed excellence. I mean, straight up championship grade, American-made excellence. The Vikings, well, they can be a lot of things. They can be second, third, maybe even fourth, but you can't be first because that right there is for the Lions. I can see it now. A massive lion with a mane so big it blocks out the sun, draped in the American flag, singing some lead vocals at a Leonard Skinner concert right before kickoff. And every note shakes the turf at Ford Field. That's the kind of energy coming Sunday. That's just the opening act, and the headliner is Jared Goff owning that Brian Flores defense, shaking bait. If you ain't first, you'll last.
Yeah. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Welcome to the Villain Report, and I am your host, Russell Wayne. I am the UDFA of Sports Podcasting. That's right. The unfiltered, the unwanted, and the unapologetic voice of the fan base that bleeds Honolulu blue. And in today's episode, we're going to go over that Dan Campbell press conference and go through that. And we're going to talk about the other teams in the NFC North. We're going to look at the schedules. We're going to look at what it looks like for the rest of the season. And as always, drop your comments, drop your thoughts into the live chat. And this episode is brought to you by fanatics.com. That's right. If you bleed Honolulu blue and you're rocking with the 313, then you need to gear up like the real one over at Fanatics, our official merch partner. Let me get that bad boy up in there. Boom. Right there. You can use that QR code right there. Save up to 25% off of your order. And every click supports the channel, the page, and lets the world know that Detroit fans do it bigger. They do it better. Villain Squad don't do knockoffs. We do official. We do Fanatics. Get yours. That's right. We're crossing over 92,000 people on the Facebook page, man, liking, commenting, and subscribing, or whatever you are doing right there. If you're a fan of Detroit sports, then you should connect with me. That's right. We're on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok, X, Instagram, wherever you scroll, the Villain rolls, and that's what we're doing right there. Ooh, yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, the UDFA of Sports Podcasting. Yeah, the Macho Man going to the top of Ford Field. Yeah, dropping the elbow right in the middle of the heart of J.J. McCarthy. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Dig it? That's right. That's right. We're bleeding Honolulu blue up in this. And right here, and I'm going to say hello to everybody that's out into the comments so far right there. The Trim Reaper is up in the house.
You just made the list.
Oh, man. Rick C's in the house.
You like that? You like that?
Happy Halloween to everybody. That's right. Central Scrutinizer.
You just made the list.
We got John Doe's up in the house.
You just made the list.
He could literally be anybody. Yes, that's right. Aidan Hutchinson signs a gigantic deal. And if you haven't heard from Paul Heyman yet, then you're going to hear from him right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I stand here as counsel to your reigning, defending, undisputed NFC North champion, the Detroit Lions. And my client, Aidan Hutchinson. 4 years, $180 million, $141 million guaranteed, and every single penny of it earned. Now I know what you're thinking, but Paul, Micah Parsons got more from the Packers. And to that I say, who cares? That just means my client feels winning is more important than being the highest paid. Since being drafted second overall in 2022, Hutch has been taking QBs to Suplex City, racking up sacks and pressures. Sewell, McNeil, Amon-Ra, Barnes, Kirby, J-Mo, and now Hutchinson. Locked in through 2030. Detroit isn't renting stars anymore. We're forging legends. Because in this city, we don't do glitz. We do grind. We don't raise divas. We raise purebred lions. And Hutch, he understands that the mission stays the same. Bringing that Lombardi to the 313. And in February, that's gonna happen. And that right there isn't a prediction, my friends. That's a spoiler.
Yeah, there's the spoiler right there. Paul Heyman always doing that stuff to us. That's right. Bringing that Lombardi home. Bringing that Lombardi to the Lombardi party. The Lombardi party to the 313. That's what we want. That's what we want. And we have, geeking, getting you all fired up out there in the comment. And I have Dan Campbell's press conference from today, and I wanted to go over that, and I wanted to react to that, and then I want to get into this, get into looking at the schedules for the rest of the season for the Lions as well as the other teams in the NFC North. Let's see what the road to hoe is going to look like right here while I'm getting this ready right here. But we got Dan Campbell, got some things that he wants to say right here, and we'll put it right in there. And there we go. Take it away, Dan.
Okay, good morning. Red Zone Day, getting ready for the Vikings. It's been 2 good days for us of work. Guys are in a good place. We got to finish strong today, but like where we're at. Questions?
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to catch up with you since Hutch got his new deal, but just speak of the timing of it. I guess, why did you guys, decide to get it done at the time, and then just kind of the process of getting it done?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to get this thing done for a bit now, so, I mean, this didn't just happen overnight, but we had all the conviction in the world that, Hutch is here to stay. He's everything we're about. He's a productive player in all areas. He's smart. He's instinctive. Man, he plays all out all the time from snap to whistle, and he's us, man. So it was really a no-brainer for us. It was just making sure that both sides came to an agreement, but we're fired up. So, we would have liked to have this done a little earlier, but hey, we got it done, and and we're excited. We're excited.
The last 2 years, Brad's got a piece for you at the deadline. I'm just curious. You're obviously focused on the next opponent. What does that process look like in terms of doing everything side by side? How does he bring those players to your attention before pulling the trigger on a move?
Yeah, if there's somebody he knows that he feels good about and that I would, then he'll bring it. Otherwise, he doesn't bog me down with any of that. And listen, that's the amount of time spent and players that are looked at between he and Ray and that staff is you'd be shocked. I mean, in the hours that goes in. So they're doing the legwork, and if there's somebody that he thinks is intriguing, he thinks the price could be right, it's somebody maybe he fits us, it could be a need, then it comes to me like, hey, let's check this out. But otherwise, he just kind of stays away from that, which is all good, man.
How many people has he brought to you so far?
I'm not telling you.
Do you expect to be active at all?
I mean, look, I don't, but that doesn't mean we won't. I mean, he's brought up a couple of things already. But there again, I'm so focused on the here and now and the roster we have in place, getting these guys ready to go. I love where we're at. I think the roster is I think it's healthy. I think it's in a good position. I think we have depth. But like I say, he's always looking to improve the roster. That's one of his jobs, and he does a hell of a job at it.
Does it ever go the other way?
So there it is right there. Dan Campbell doesn't think that we're going to be doing anything at the deadline. But I don't know. I was listening to Calvin Shepard the other day, and Calvin Shepard was talking how, all of us media heads that are in here that are talking about trade deadlines is incredibly disrespectful to the players that are here. And that hit me, and I'm just like who am I? I'm just some dude with a mic, but I am out here. I'm covering the team, and I talk about the trade deadline, but I don't put a big emphasis on it until we get into the week of. But it does make a lot of sense. You have all of these guys that have been here since training camp. They've been grinding, and you may not have heard their name. They got a shot last week, like the Nick Whitesides and the Harpers and the secondary guys that came in to fill in. And those were the guys that worked hard, that made it. And just to go out, I mean, think about that. You work your ass off, right? You work your ass off. A couple guys get injured. All of a sudden, I'm going to get my shot. Oh, well, we traded for somebody. That guy might be good. He might not be good, but that guy wasn't there. He wasn't lifting weights with them. He wasn't in the room going over all of the offenses and defense and learning this offense or learning this defense. And I can see how that would be disrespectful to the players that are there. And just because us talking heads out here think a name will be better for the team, we need to go out and get this guy or that guy. I mean, is he really going to be better here? Are any of those guys really going to be better here? I mean, even let's say take Trey Hendrickson for a minute. Trey Hendrickson comes here. Is he automatically going to be better than Muhammad at this defense coming in, working next to Hutchinson? I mean, was he just a person that was there in Cincinnati doing well? And maybe he was good with that defense. What makes you think and give you 100% that those players or whoever they're going to get are going to be good here? So that's a question to throw out to people right there. So that was my only comment on that part right there. Let's keep going right here.
I mean, do you go to him and say, hey, I could really use a little help at this position?
Yeah, if I've got something on my mind and I feel, absolutely I'll go there. And we stay in open communication with that all the time, So yeah, if I feel like there's something that is eating away at me a little bit, or maybe just a bit of a concern, sure, I'll bring that to his attention.
Kirby hasn't practiced this week. We know he missed the last game. Is he still going to need a little time to get right?
Yeah, I don't see Kirby playing this week. He's going to need a little bit here. So, the negative is, I don't think he's going to play. The positive is he is getting better. He really is. It's just, it's going to take a minute here. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and the fact that you guys have.
So there you go. No Kirby Joseph this week. I don't know how anybody would feel about that. But it worked well last week. You're getting Brian Branch back. So you're getting one of your safeties back. You're not getting both of them back, but the replacements that you brought in played just fine. They played just fine. And, to Broski, obviously you would think that, everybody would think that Hendrickson would be an upgrade over there. But, he just had a hip injury. He left the field with a hip injury. So you want to spend draft capital and if you can upgrade the team, you can upgrade the team. I wouldn't be unhappy for any of that stuff, but I get where they're coming from, where all these guys are working hard, and you might not know the names of these guys, but if they come in and they play well, like Wheat, Wheat comes in and gets a sack and a half in the last game. And everyone's like, oh, it's just a practice squad body. Well, obviously it's not. Obviously they bring these guys in, and if they get a chance to play, they go in, and it looks like they play well. So not having Kirby Joseph, let him heal up. You obviously have the secondary, and you have the depth that can go in there. Even with these replacement players, it's funny. It's like we throw Branch and Kirby out there. We paid them. And the last week during the game, that might have been the strongest performance out of the secondary all season. And you didn't have your top, three players. I'm not saying that those practice squad guys are better, but last week was a really good game for them. So it really kind of proves, and it wasn't like they were protecting these players either. They were putting Whiteside on. They weren't bringing safeties over top. They were leaving these guys out there. They were putting trust into these guys. They weren't protecting them at all. So it's nice to know that you have guys that can come in and the level of play isn't going to drop drastically, even on the defensive end. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson would be great to have in the room, but he ain't that much better than all these guys. Not that much better. He hasn't been that great this year. Where's the numbers this year, Trey? You had 17 sacks last year. It doesn't seem like you're all that good when you're not up 50 with Joe Burrow playing quarterback. So that's something to think about. Maybe we're overvaluing some of these guys, and I'm glad that Brad Holmes is running a team, not me. There you go. Let's get back into it. Get in there. Oh, I got to find the right. I got to figure out how to work this damn thing. Let's do it like this. There we go. I like that one. How does that work? Okay, that's the one I go to. Here you go. More Dan.
Re-signed or extended so many of your guys, excuse me, and I would imagine have some more to do, and that almost all of them are at a Pro Bowl or All-Pro level. Is it just sort of another reminder that this is a sustainable path you're on?
Yeah, I listen. I think I do. I think that's one of the things that Brad and I talked about. When we got here in 21 was being competitive every year in and year out, and sustaining that, man. How do you play at a high level, you compete at a high level, and every year you got a chance. And I think with the guys that we've drafted and that we've re-signed, there's a reason why we drafted them. Yes, they're productive, man. They're good players, but man, they fit us. They are to their core everything we're about. Just the nature of the way they play the game, the love for the game. They're pretty smart. They're headsy. They're aware. They're resilient, and they got this ability. And it's like, man, okay, so that's the foundation of our team. And as many of those guys as we can re-sign, we're going to do it. That we think can help us until we run out of money, I guess. So.
All these repetitions against all these other NFC North coaches, O'Connell, LaFleur, those guys. How does that force you to evolve over the matchups and as you continue to learn these guys more?
That's a good question, because it is. The more you go against, somebody. This is, there again. This will be number 5 with Flores, and then and 7 now with O'Connell, I guess. It is. I mean, you've got to. It's one of those where you're constantly thinking, all right, this worked. You like this. This is how they countered. Oh, they got us with this. I think this will get them. Yeah, but unless they're thinking the same thing, and then they're gonna, and so you can sit there and play that little chess game a little bit if you're. You have to be careful, but you do. You have to stay true to what you are, but yet, man, you got to keep it fresh. You got to throw just enough curveballs in there to put them back on their heels on both sides of the ball, special teams as well. So it's a constant battle, I guess it's a good problem to have. That means we've been intact for a while, and and then going against the same guy. So, but yeah, that game never ends. You always have to evolve every time you play that team.
Just with Terrion and Decker, they seem to be trending in the right direction. Do you expect them both this week?
They do. Decker, I don't see practicing today, but I do see him playing. He had a good week, and TA, I think, is trending the right way right now. He's looked pretty good in practice.
So there you go. You're kind of, you're losing a guy and getting a guy, losing a guy and getting 2 guys. So the bye week was beneficial for us. To get a fully healthy Decker would be really cool, because he's been battling something all year long, where it's just been kind of like a little bit behind the 8 ball, where they had a couple games where they brought in Manu. But it's good that you're getting some of these guys back. I would love to have the healthiest version that we can get of Terrion Arnold, because I know that he was playing a little bit banged up at the beginning of the year. And then you're going to get, Brian Branch, it seems like he has some rejuvenated life when it comes to after the suspension, had a come to Jesus moment and reevaluating the way that he wants to do things. And that's good. Young players like that, hot-headed, he's got to get his emotions under control, because he's one of those guys that wants to get paid too. He wants to get that payday. And if you're getting personal foul penalties and you're costing the team 15 yards every time that you get mad and everything like that, that may be taken into consideration. You got to have the right mental makeup, because that's one thing about the guys that they have re-signed, is they have a mental makeup to grind and get better. They're not just talented players, but they have that it factor. Look at the way that Hutchinson came back from the injury. There's a certain mental makeup that you have to do to go in there and grind every single day on little things that you might not even think that matter, that do. And having some of these guys get back and do everything that they can do to get back is a good thing. And you're going to get Terrion Arnold back. You're going to get Brian Branch back. And now you have other backup guys that can do that thing. That they can come in and they're not going to drop the level of play, and that's good.
We ask about him about once a month, but we see Josh Pascal around the building. I think the original, hope was to get him back in October. We're coming out of that month. Do you have any update on where he's at, and can you shed any light on what he's dealing with? Because I don't think we've ever got that.
It's a back is what it is, and he's there again. He is improving. We're trying to be smart. We're taking it as far as we can. He's got a few more things to show us before we're ready to open the window for him to practice. So, I'm hopeful 3 weeks, somewhere in there. I'm hopeful the end of November, maybe early December. But he is improving.
Light one. Since it's Halloween, when you were a player here, did you ever go? I can't imagine you went the other day. You're game planning, but when you were a player, did you go to players' Halloween parties? And did you and Holly have a favorite, costume?
We did. We dressed up a little bit. We had a few. Yeah, we had a few, but. I answered this the other day. I don't know. Danny was in there. I don't know. I was Marilyn Monroe one year. All right, that was a long time ago, and that wasn't here. I'm sure you can find some old stuff, but anyway, we paired up pretty good. Let's just put it that way. So Holly's the creative one. She always had pretty good ideas for stuff. So.
What was she when you were Marilyn Monroe?
Well, actually, that one, her sister came in, so it was really more her and her sister than it was we were paired up. So I was kind of odd one out, but I was Marilyn Monroe. She bought me the freaking dress. I had the wig. So, and I had broken ankle, so I was on crutches too. So that was great.
You're a good sport with it.
Yeah, I guess so. Alcohol helps. All right.
Since we're on the topic, what's the Campbell family passing out at the house tonight? Do you know?
Well, it'll be, Reese's, love Reese's, man. The Buttercups, M&M's, peanut M&M's. That's usually kind of been the staples. That's where we go. It's not the caramel apples or anything, but so that's kind of what we give.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Yep. Have a good one.
There it is. That's Dan Campbell and his press conference right there. Marilyn Monroe, huh? I can't. Yeah, you're not going to live that one down. But yeah, that is a pretty good sport if you're dressing up like Marilyn Monroe for Halloween and pulling it off as Dan Campbell. That's hilarious to me. That is hilarious to me. And you got Rick C says it's finally to get some positive report on Pascal. Gosh, man, I don't see it like that, man. This reminds me of the way that Dan Campbell was talking about Levi Onwuzurike when he was out for the whole year. Like, it was like week to week. Oh yeah, he's almost better. Oh, it's getting better. It's getting better. It's getting better. Oh, we're shutting him down for the year. And that's what this Pascal thing feels like to me, Rick. I mean, I'm sorry that I don't want to dump on your Cheerios or anything like that. I don't see it as a positive report because they were thinking that he was going to be ready for the season. And then they put him on the PUP, and then 4 weeks into the season, they didn't bring him back. And then here we go to get to the bye week. Maybe we might get him back after the bye week. And now here he is saying that's 3 more weeks now, maybe even in December. So I hope not, because they shut down Levi for the whole season. And then he came back the next year and wasn't great either. And then the third year, with that back injury, finally comes in and plays a full year. And yeah, and now he's out again for the whole season. So I don't know. Pascal's feeling a lot to me like Levi Onwuzurike. And I mean, that stinks. I hope that he can come back. I'm just not feeling great. Not feeling great about that. But maybe they are just taking it, week to week here and just trying to make sure, extra precaution, make sure that they got it completely healed, because we do have some players that can rush the passer on the opposite of Hutchinson that they like with Muhammad and Wheat. And yeah, keep moving through. And, I don't think anybody is, counting on Davin Glass to come back and get broken again. So what do you think about that? What do you think about what Dan Campbell said? Anybody got any favorite Halloween costumes? What are you passing out as far as candy tonight for your Halloween, your trick-or-treat? And my wife is taking my son out there, and somebody had asked about me in here. Who asked about me in here? I'd seen somebody asked about me in here and how I was doing. Where did I see that? And I didn't say anything about it, so I wanted to acknowledge you for thinking about me. And there you go. Ken Fisher right there said, how are you doing? I'm doing a little bit better, but we're still going through some of the stuff that we were going through with my son in the school and everything like that. But it's gotten to a point now where we have our battle plan set, where we're going to, my son's going to be okay. And now it's coming to the point where my wife wants to make sure that what happened to us and my son don't happen to any other children that have, or any other children with special needs and their parents. So trying to clear the way, because we've done a lot with the special needs and trying to figure things out. And not everybody has that. So we're blessed in that way. And And we want to make sure that we can pave the way so other people don't have to go through what we went through with that. So not worried about the player. Rick's not worried about the player. Broski Bear says, dress up as a delicate JJ McCarthy and wrap yourself in bubble wrap and roll around on a shelf. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? JJ McCarthy is going to be playing this Sunday. As a Lion fan, are you at all worried about JJ McCarthy coming in and lighting us up and becoming this top end quarterback all in 1 week? And I'm telling you that as the villain ain't worried about that. The villain's only worried about what we're worried about with our team getting better each week, making sure that you continue to get better. And this defense looks like it's top notch. They're going to be after JJ McCarthy all day. Now the Vikings are getting some guys back. They're getting Christian Darrisaw back. They're getting O'Neal back. They're getting their tackles back from what it looks like. Does that make a big difference, or do the Lions still eat? I mean, they seem to do pretty well against Wirfs last week, and he's one of the best left tackles in the game. So I don't think it makes a difference. Jack Campbell is elite. Aidan Hutchinson is elite. Brian Branch is elite. And the Vikings, they haven't really been playing all that well this year. So it feels like the Lions are doing this, and the Vikings are still trying to find themselves. I'm talking to Viking fans, and the Viking fans just hope that they get a good game out of McCarthy. They don't think they're going to win. No sane Viking fans think that they're going to win the game. No sane football fans really think that the Vikings can win the game. But it is the NFL, right? Any given Sunday, right? So we have to fall under that category, and it is what it is. Vikings O-line is trash. That's what Central Scrutinizer says. I mean, they might not be so trashy with getting both of their starting tackles back. I'm just saying. You missed my point about Pascal. Where? Let me see what I missed here. Rick, going back in it, we need to make any. We need some elite help. Did I miss that, Rick? I'm sorry, Rick. That it's a great to finally get some positive news on Josh Pascal. That's what you said, right? Did you say something before that? It is. I mean, I guess it is. It is. His health has been a concern. His health has been a concern since he's been here. I mean, I think that he started out his whole career here on the PUP list with a hernia, and he's never really lived up to that second round pick status. I mean, he's had a couple good games. I mean, that's nice that he's still on the team. Sometimes second round picks just get busted out of the league, and he's not that. He's not a bust out of the league, but a second round pick, you really want to be better than a backup depth piece. You know, you want to get your depth pieces in the later rounds, but sometimes that doesn't work with the Lions, and the Lions have also gotten full-blown starters in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. So, all of that stuff evens out, in my opinion. So I'm sorry I missed your point, Rick. But I wanted to go over, some of the schedule, the scheduling. And since Broski's in here, and Broski's probably the best rival fan that we have on the Villain Report, because he shows up whether the the Bears win or lose. And he's always here. He's always real about it. So I'll start with the Bears. And the Bears remaining schedule, they got the Bengals this week, and they should win that game. I mean, look at that. Let's really look at that. So you got the Bengals, and then you got the Giants, and then you got the Vikings, and then you got the Steelers, and then you have the Eagles. So really, okay, let's just start with those first three right there. Broski, let's be realistic about this. I mean, yeah, you lost last week, but you got the Bengals, you got the Giants, and you got the Vikings. Now, at this first glance right here, Broski, I think that you could win all three of those games. Really, I honestly, I think that what are you sitting at 4-3 right now? I think that you could really be 7-3, and you could win those next three games. Even if you think that your team is trash, those teams are trash too. The New York Giants can't really seem to find themselves. It's like the Giants seem like they're almost good, like they're about ready to turn a corner or something. And then the Vikings are a mess right now. I think that they're the worst team in the North, and I think that you get a victory there. You can't let the Vikings sweep you when they're playing like this. If you get swept, that I guess that could be bad. So there you go. You got those three wins, and then you go in, and then you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now let's say that those two are losses, and then you're sitting at 7-5. And you got the Packers. And I don't want to throw the Packers in as a guaranteed win this year, and for the same reason you're looking at those Minnesota Vikings. Like, you're not going to get swept. You're not going to get swept again. You're going to beat these Packers in one of these games. So you got the Packers in 2 out of 3 weeks, but then you play the Browns in between the Packer games. So I'm trying to help you out here, broski. So you're at 7-3, 7-4 with the Steelers, 7-5 with the Eagles. Let's just say 7-6. You lose 3 in a row to the Packers. You'll lose that first Packers game, but then you play the Browns to win. So you're 8-6, 9-6, because you're going to beat the Packers the second time around. And you got the 49ers, and I don't know what the 49ers are there. So, I mean, you could be looking at a winning record, broski. I don't know if that's good for you. Then you're going to be in week 18 with the Lions. I mean, what do you think? You think that Ben Johnson could make this team competitive enough to maybe make that week 18 game against the Lions mean something? You think you could get in there, broski? So here's what broski's got to say. Russ, the Bears defense is so soft and cornerbacks are banged up, and the only way the Bears stop anyone is by a turnover. Huntley drug his nuts on the Bears. Oh, God. I'm looking at my older son is in the room. That's why I keep on looking over my shoulder, and he's laughing at that. Bengals are a tough matchup because they have the stud wide receivers. Caleb is inaccurate. He's been holding back the offense all season. It's tough to watch. Bears are 6-7 win this 6 or 7 win team this season. Broski's tough on him, man. I respect that. So, why is this? So, why would we call this a brutal slate for the Bears? So, you got multiple road games against tough squads, against the Vikings, against the Packers, 49ers. Divisional matchups. Waited out on the road, 2 big games away from home in the division. You got the Packers 2 out of 3 weeks. You have elite non-division opponents in the Eagles and the 49ers. Late season pressure. I mean, I could see you getting to 7 wins and then not winning a game for the rest of that. I mean, I can really see that. Where you go that Eagles stretch where you go to 7-3 and then you lose. I can see it. Yeah, I can see that, broski. You lose to the Steelers, you lose to the Eagles, you lose to the Packers. Maybe you beat the Browns. The Packers beat you again. The 49ers and the Lions beat you. Yeah, I could see you as a 6-7 win season, but I could also see you. I really can see you winning the next 3 games in a row. It is possible. Let's move on here. Let's move on to the Vikings. Let's move on to the Vikings and flip the script here a little bit. So their remaining games, they're playing us. They're playing the Ravens. And then they got the Bears and then the Packers. I mean, I really feel like the Vikings are the worst team in this division this year. And McCarthy may get it together. He may help them get the game back together, but like most quarterbacks, you're going to have to deal with some rookie mistakes. I mean, there aren't very many quarterbacks that just come in and light it up. You know, Jaden Daniels last year, number 2 overall, didn't do too bad, but they didn't ask him to do a ton. You know, if you go back and look at his numbers from last year, Jaden Daniels, I mean, he didn't put up like super duper numbers. He was winning a lot of games and he was putting up decent numbers, but it wasn't like he was in the top end of all quarterbacks or anything like that. And McCarthy, you know, coming in, and I mean, I just don't know. I mean, last year, you won 14 games with Sam Darnold. Did the Vikings make a mistake by getting rid of Sam Darnold? And I told you, Viking fans, okay? I told you at the beginning of the season when you guys were crowning J.J. McCarthy as the next Jesus. I told you. I mean, McCarthy could come in and even be good, and then you would be disappointed because the good wouldn't be better than the elite play that Sam Darnold gave you last year. And you want to say that Sam Darnold wasn't good because of the 2 bad games that he played, and that's fine and that's fair. But just to expect a rookie quarterback to come in, throw for 4,500 and 30 touchdowns like it, oh yeah, just pop in McCarthy. 30 touchdowns, 4,600 yards, or what? I mean, 4,300 yards. He had over 4,000. You don't just shit out those kind of numbers. Oh, just the next guy. They did that before. I remember when Casey Keenum. He threw for over 4,000 yards. Oh, we got to go get Kirk Cousins.
It's my quarterback.
Got to go get Kirk. Okay. Well, are you sure that it's going to be better? I said the same thing when you did that. Are you sure that it's going to be better? Casey Keenum. Well, he's better than Casey Keenum. Okay, Kirk Cousins is better than Casey Keenum. But how much better? Casey Keenum took you to an NFC Championship game. How much better is Kirk Cousins? And then you found out. You know, he's a little bit better. He got you a little bit better numbers, but you were still in the same boat. Now you go draft J.J. McCarthy, and Sam Darnold even had a better season than Casey Keenum did, and then you sent him packing. And look at what he's doing over there in Seattle. And now you got J.J. There he is. You got him. How's it feeling? I mean, it would be one thing if it's like you look at J.J. McCarthy and you haven't seen it. You know, you haven't seen him yet, and he's just got that one comeback win. he looking real good, mean mugging all them Bears over on the side after the comeback win. And if he got injured right after that, I would be maybe a little more scared because that was a good moment for JJ. But he stunk it up the next 3 weeks after that. Dude's played one good quarter in his NFL career. And you want to crown him Jesus because he won the national championship on a team that had maybe the best defense ever. So good luck with that. As we think of that, as I move on to the Green Bay Packers and their ending schedule, and I don't even know how they do this. They must have it like they have probably the easiest schedule out of everybody, and they did finish technically in third place last year, and the schedule reflects that. But they got Carolina. And then they play the Eagles, then they play the Vikings, then they get us on Thanksgiving, then they got the Bears. In the late season, they get the Bears again. They get the Baltimore. I mean, the thing about the Baltimore is they'll probably have Lamar Jackson on that Baltimore team by that time. Because I think he played yesterday, didn't he? Didn't Lamar? I thought the Lamar came. I think Lamar came back. And I mean, I love hating on the Packers, but it is what it is, man. They seem to be able to reload, and they got a good young team too. I'm not gonna sit up here and try to sugarcoat that. I think on Thanksgiving the Lions will get their revenge on them for this year, and because we don't really handle losing 2 times in a row all that much. So I don't even know who. Yeah, those poor Dolphins, man. They just come in and get beat down by everybody. I mean, unless you're in fantasy football and you have Achan on your team, then you hated that game. Oh, but as far as the primetime games, high-profile matchups with the Eagles, but they do have some easy ones, some home heavy for key division games, gives them an edge. For Detroit, this is huge. The Packers will face Detroit on Thanksgiving. The Packers schedule offers Detroit an opportunity. A win over the Packers at home could be a game changer for the division. I mean, I really do think that the division is going to come down to that Thanksgiving game. That's the way that it looks like. So let me ask you, do you think that the Packers have a schedule advantage? Or do you think it's business as usual? The Lions just keep on taking care of business? I mean, the Lions got to go, from the Vikings. Then we're heading out to Washington. And then you got to go to Philadelphia. And that's a pretty hard 3-game stretch when you look at it. I do believe that the Lions will win at least 2 out of 3, if not all 3 of them. I don't think Philadelphia is a better team than the Lions right now. Now, if you would have asked me last year if we could even had this full-blown Lions team against that team last year, I might have a different, I'd be a little bit more scared of this Philadelphia team. But like I predicted at the beginning of the year, it's like you give championship teams passes, I guess, Oh, they won the championship. They're obviously going to be better. Well, there's something that comes along with winning championship, and that is losing a lot of your guys. And it seems like when you lose a lot of your guys and you're on a championship team, everybody just, oh, yeah, just the next guy is going to be fine. Well, are you sure? It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like it's a dominant of an Eagles team. So maybe losing some players actually does mean something. Well, you can't make the injury excuse. It's not excuses if it's the reason. You can't just, I mean, sometimes it works. Sometimes it works, but they had a lot of guys. They had a lot of guys that changed over. And I'm not sleeping on the Eagles, Bear or Broski. I'm not sleeping on them. I'm just pointing out what's true, and that is this isn't as dominant of an Eagles team as it was last year. Now, that doesn't mean that those guys that, you lost Darius Slay, you lost your secondary pieces, you lost some pieces on your defensive line. That doesn't mean that the guys that you brought in won't be fine by the end of the season. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Philadelphia is probably going to be right there in the playoff hunt when it comes down to it. Same thing with the Packers. I have another prediction too that I've thrown out there that I've had since the beginning of the season, and that is the NFC North will play. They'll have two teams that will play each other 3 times this season. I think that the Lions are going to end up playing the Green Bay Packers a 3rd time this season. We're going to go there, and whatever happens, but it was so close a couple years ago. Green Bay fell short to their arch nemesis, the San Francisco 49ers, who seem to own them in the playoffs no matter what. I have no idea why half the time. I believe that divisional matchup that they had a couple years back when Aaron Rodgers was still on the team, that, like, if I remember correctly, didn't Jimmy Garoppolo win that game throwing like 6 passes? Like, it was ridiculous. It was all defense. Probably one of the reasons that Aaron Rodgers was so easily let go, because maybe they thought that it was over, and it was. Smoking Jeremy B's in the house.
You like that?
What up, though? Kind of going through these schedules today, Jeremy. Going through the Lions schedule. We went over the Dan Campbell press conference. And now we're going over these schedules. And it seems like the Packers have the easiest schedule out of the teams in the North that's left, but it's really not that much different. You still got to play hard teams. You still got to go get it done. And I really think that the Bears are better than what Broski's getting them credit for. But Caleb Williams is having that problem that I thought that he would have with Ben Johnson's offense, which is Ben Johnson's offense is an on-schedule offense. And Caleb Williams doesn't play on schedule, or he doesn't like to play on schedule. He's holding on to the ball too long. And those are all correctable things if he allows it to be correctable. You got the talent. It's amazing what some good quarterback play will do for you. So, and maybe I'm just having some hopium right here because I'm really needing the Bears to beat up on the Packers a couple times this year. That would do us some good. And I would root for you. I'm gonna root for the Bears against the Packers. That's what we'd be doing. And we're gonna be rooting for Carolina this week. Because I don't hide it. I'm a Packer hater. I waste my time with that stuff. Go Carolina. Get it done. But the Packers do the same thing too. With the Lions only losing 2 games last year, you had Packer fans trying to find some way to count the wins as losses. Oh, you won the game, but you didn't do this, and this. We won the game. Shut up. Wins and losses are the only things that matter. You lost to the Browns. Just remember that. I don't care that you beat me week 1. Teams don't play their best football in week 1. But you lost to the Browns. You can't lose to the Browns. That happened. So, yeah, you did beat us, but Dan Campbell still owns Matt LaFleur. The last time that I checked, it's still in the favor of Dan Campbell. So, Broski says, I've never met a Packer fan I like until the Huddle Sports Network. Eagles are the team that I dislike the most. The Packers are second. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. You don't like a team that's beat your ass for the last 12 years? Full ownership of your that doesn't bother you? What did the Eagles do to you? Is it the fans? Is it the fans? Because, I mean, the Packers are by far the most arrogant fan base that you could ever have. The Lions could win a Super Bowl, and it'd be like, you'll never catch up to how many. It's always this elitist looking down and citing games that happened in the 60s before most of us were born. So it's like, I don't care about any of that. I only care about current regimes and moving forward. But I have to. That's my defense mechanism. I'm a Lions fan. What am I supposed to do? Reminisce? Oh, wow. We were 0-16. Yay. Boy, we sure love having a different coach every 6 minutes. Actually, we didn't fire coaches. Coaches were allowed to suck here for a while before we'd fire them. We were loyal to our crappy coaches. Let's just give them a couple more years. Hey, Matt Millen, you haven't drafted a good first-round pick ever. Let's give him an extension. How you doing out there? Oh, Matt Millen. We got Matt Millen again. I think he's going to turn it around. That's what we had to deal with. I don't have anything to reminisce about. 2021 to now. That's it. That's the light of the Lions' career. Unless you want to go back to the Barry times. I do remember those games. But even at that, if you're a true Lions fan and you've been a Lions fan since back in the Barry's time, then you know that there wasn't championship talk with Barry here. It was always, wow, we have the greatest running back on planet Earth, and we're never going to win a championship because we don't have anything else. That's what it was like. And then we had, 1991, the NFC Championship game. I mean, that was probably the best shot. This team that the Lions have today is way better than that team. I mean, that team that they have back in the 90s with Barry is very, in comparison, check out the Atlanta Falcons. See the Atlanta Falcons. There you go. Watch Bijan Robinson's career. You're going to see a great running back play for a crappy team. And you're going to see him put up some numbers. He'll be touted as the best running back in the NFL. At least by somebody. Not by Lions fans. We all believe that Jahmyr Gibbs is the best. But Bijan Robinson, he's kind of like the modern day Barry Sanders. Going to play on a team. They're probably going to make the playoffs. They might even win a playoff game, but they ain't going to win no championships with that team. They just won't. They're not built. They're not built like that. And tell me if you agree with me. If you were a Lions fan back in the 90s, you watched Barry Sanders' career, tell me. You knew that we had a good team, but were you guys talking Super Bowl? And we're talking about the Lions. We're talking about the Cowboys in the 90s. 49ers. Lions weren't on that. They weren't at the top of any power rankings back then. Like now. This is a championship caliber team. And it's not just in one spot. I mean, you look at half of this stuff that's in there. I mean, look at these guys that we've signed. And this is straight from my page. Oh, let me get the manage my page stuff off there. There you go. You got Jared Goff, Aidan Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell. There's 4 guys right there. Arguably top 5 at their position. Really unarguably. You might be able to argue Jared Goff out of there, but that's where his numbers have been the last 3 years. He's actually number 1 when it comes to touchdowns and wins. Jared Goff. Aidan Hutchinson, he's top 5. No one's going to argue it out of there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're not going to argue him out of the top 5 unless you're an idiot. Unless you want to, unless you don't want to use facts. You're not going to argue Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the top 5. Penei Sewell, I don't think that you could argue him out of the top 3. Jameson Williams, yeah. You can have an argument there with me. Kirby Joseph, top 5 at his position. These are the guys that we're paying. Aleem McNeil, top 5 at his position. You couldn't argue him out of the top 10. Taylor Decker and Montgomery, those are what I would call like the free agent type of contract. You're not going to have Taylor Decker next year. You're going to want to. You might have Taylor Decker next year. They have him under contract, but his contract is definitely on the backslide. I don't think that you're going to extend Taylor Decker, especially if he wants $20 million at this point. And then David Montgomery. I think the replacements are already on the team for the future. So that's what I like about this team and the way that it's set up. You're set up for now, and you're set up for the future. So, and this right here is something that Lion fan isn't used to. Like, think about it. Like, before Brad Holmes got here, when the hell did any of the Lions players, even if they were good, that they drafted, get second contracts at all? Those guys were hyping up and getting ready to ship town 2 years before their contract. They weren't going to re-sign here. Everybody knew leading up that Ndamukong Suh wasn't going to sign here. Oh, I want to be there. You don't want to be here. We know you don't want to be here. You say you want to be here because that's what you say when you're in front of the podium. But nobody wanted to remain here. And now we're not only are we keeping the guys and signing them to long-term deals, half of them are giving us discounts. And you can't tell me for 1 second that Aidan Hutchinson couldn't have got $50 million. Could have waited. You didn't have to sign this contract with us early. $45 million. He came in underneath Parsons on purpose. As an agent, you got to be the biggest at something. So they gave him a little more guaranteed money than Parsons. Parsons got $2 million more a year. That's because Hutchinson cares more about winning than being the highest paid. Just like Paul Heyman said. And you never had this before. You never had this before. You got guys that want to play here. There you go. Hutchinson said this, and this is probably the main reason why we won't. And this is something that Johnny Gaz brought up the other day, and I agree with him. Hutchinson could have pulled a Hendrickson, and the reason why he doesn't want Hendrickson is because Hendrickson isn't one of us. The Lions don't want a guy that would hold out and put himself above the team. Want to win championships. Now, Hutchinson got paid good. I'm not saying that he's like Mother Teresa over here and he's playing for $5. But he could have gotten 50. Literally every other player in the NFL, when their contract is up, whether they're the best at their position or not, when you're next, you're the highest paid. Well, there's an interesting spin. That's always the, you can spin it either way. Parsons got a little bit more guaranteed money, and it's still averaged out. Even if you want to make it a 3-year deal, he still didn't go over Parsons. And he could have. That's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to get into semantics, broski. I know that you try to disprove every single thing that I say on here in one way or another. I'm not trying to prove that he's Mother Teresa over here. I'm trying to prove that he could have gotten more. He could have waited. The 5th-year option was already there. They could have waited until in the season, at the end of the season, during the off season, and negotiated this contract. I guarantee that he could have gotten more money that way. Everybody told me 4 years, $200 million. That's what it was. 4 years, $200 million that's what it's going to be. It's going to be $50 million. Yeah. Now look, Parsons signed first. Now the Lions are screwed. They're going to pay $50 million a year. They didn't. They gave him some. Aidan Hutchinson gave us somewhat of a very small hometown discount. Gave him a hometown discount. He could have got $50 million. And if you could get $50 million and you take 47, and really it's 45 when you add all the numbers together. And the way that the contract is set up, it's really, really easy to renegotiate or get out of, too. It's a very brilliantly done contract, and we went over that yesterday. So when you look at the future of the Lions, man, that's what you want to have happen. This is the best case scenario for any team. This is a blueprint right here for the rest of the NFL. This is how you win. Now, did they pick the right guys? That remains to be seen. We'll see. We'll see if they pick the right guys. But this is how you want to build a franchise. You want to draft your players. You want to develop your coaches and all the personnel, and then you want to be able to compete long term. And the Lions have done both. This right here, this graphic that I have shows this is the foundation. That's 9 players. The foundation is set. And you're going to add And you're in no danger of not being able to sign these other guys. It's hilarious to me to talk to people that say, oh, no, Aidan Hutchinson got signed. No, nobody else is going to get signed. Bullshit. Bullshit. I call bullshit. They're going to be able to sign all of them. Oh, you're going to have to choose now between Branch and Laporta and Gibbs. No, I'm not. We're signing all of them. All of them. Not one of they won't slip through the cracks. For 3 years, none of these contracts really even hit. You can renegotiate Goff's contract. You can renegotiate Sewell's contract. You can add years to them, lower the cap number. This is they're going to have this crew around until 2030. And the thing is if it works, it can work multiple times. This is a monster franchise that's getting built here. All of those guys are still young going into their prime. The biggest difference between guys that the Lions used to sign, they used to sign free agents for big money that had already won somewhere else. The difference is now the Lions are drafting, developing these elite players, and they're signing them going into their prime. Penei Sewell isn't even in his prime yet. Was he 23 years old? You kidding me? People tell the window's closed. The window hasn't even opened yet. The Lions window hasn't even fully opened yet. And you're telling me that it closed. It doesn't. No, it's just now opening. 2022 was your only. No, it wasn't the only chance. That was the first year. I'm not guaranteeing a Super Bowl, but I'm saying that this team is only going to get better, and that's without even adding players. Hutchinson's going to get better as these guys go into their prime. Penei turned 25. 25 years old. You got these guys going into their prime. And you got them locked up. You know, if you need some money, Penei Sewell's the guy that you can go to. Penei Sewell's contract, I mean, I think that he has a base salary next year of like $28 million. They could lower his. I mean, all they need to do is add a couple of years on the back end. I mean, you're going to keep Penei Sewell? Yeah. That's a no-brainer. Could save some money. Boom. $25 million they could get just from Penei Sewell if they need it. Well, there's Laporta and Gibbs. Oh, we just restructure and add a couple years to Amon-Ra too. Okay, well, there's another $25 million. There's Jack Campbell. Done. Easy peasy. Brad Holmes has set this up to knock it down. And if you think that I'm wrong on that, just look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They've proven that the cap is fake. Oh, move some stuff around. We can go. They tried to get Micah Parsons, and they're so far over the cap, it's ridiculous. You got good guys, you can keep them. I used to be on the side of cap. I used to watch the cap so close and trying to figure out they're not going to be able to work these numbers out. And then they do. And then I'm just sitting there going, damn, I didn't think they'd be able to do that. Why didn't we do that? Right there. You think that's going to be that it's going to be more? No, the cap hit for Hutchinson next year is $10 million. As a matter of fact, the cap hit is $10 million less because he signed the extension. His cap hit would have been $20 million because he was on a 5th-year option. That's fully guaranteed, the whole thing. I don't know what the 5th-year option would have been, somewhere around $20 million. Still been a good deal for Hutchinson. But still, he lowered the cap. That's the great thing about signing these contracts. That now, if you look at the way Parsons' contract is set up, there's no money to squeeze out of his anywhere. His base salaries are $1 million, $1 million, $1 million for the next 3 years. There's no extra money. There's no restructuring that they can do for the Parsons contract. They squeezed every penny out of it that they could right off the bat. They didn't do that here. Our contracts are front loaded. That gives us options on the back. And most people sign their contracts to where they're backloaded, to where it's almost like when you look at the Philadelphia's, they screwed themselves on a couple of contracts late, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they are screwing it up late, because right now they're competing for titles. And if you got a window to compete for titles with these elite players, you do it. You do it. And I'm glad that we are doing it with our own guys. And they're not going outside of the organization. Why won't the Lions go and trade for a big name? This is why. Because we want to keep our guys. Blood, sweat, and tears. He's been here since 2022. You want that. Broski says it right here. Adding years to contracts, giving players more guaranteed money now, etc. GMs find a way to manipulate the cap and make it work. And now these void years, this thing that they've been doing for the last few years, that's just, I mean, that's another complete layer to it. Yeah, and here, right here, Jeremy. At least we're not like the Browns. Well, look at what the Browns did, Jeremy. And this is crazy. I'm not trying to give them any kind of credit, because the contract they gave to Deshaun Watson that they're still taking it up the rear for. But think about that. You got Deshaun Watson, you got Myles Garrett on your team, you're paying cornerbacks, you have your contracts in a mess, but somehow, even that, despite all of that, you were able to sign Myles Garrett to $40 million a year. The cap is fake. It ain't even real. Yeah. Next year, after the Watson hit, they'll start at $11 million in cap space. And when they get their $20 million raise for the year, like the cap keeps going up by $20 million every year, they'll cover that. It's like they find ways around it. And I'm glad that we actually have players that are worth paying at this point in time when you look at it. And now, when you can see the numbers, like go look at the numbers, go to Spot Track, go to Over the Cap, and check that out. Go check out the numbers, and you'll see how they are going to be able to keep Branch, Laporta, and Gibbs on top of all this, and Campbell. They'll sign all these guys. You want to keep those core guys that are in there. And then when you're drafting, like I can see our drafts changing quite a bit going forward, because, you think of 2021, I mean, every guy that you needed to draft free agent, we're looking for starters. We're looking for anybody that can play in bodies. Now there ain't room on the team no more. So it's going to be, can you continue to add talent that isn't super expensive. And honestly, I think that that's Brad Holmes' best attribute as a GM. Even more than him being able to find, late round gems and whatnot. This dude evaluates talent, and he gets undrafted free agent guys making $1.50 that can play. I mean, I was so utterly impressed with the last win that they had, and it wasn't just beating Tampa Bay and who they were. Baker Mayfield playing at MVP level, and you beat him. You beat a MVP candidate with Mike Evans coming back, and he was back at the beginning of that game with Mbuke, and the Legion of Whom shut him down. The Legion of Whom 2.0. They shut him down. That gave me more confidence in this Lions team than any of these other signings. Because the thing is if our guys get injured, we know that we have the next man up that can handle it. And I should have learned it from last year when they lost Hutchinson and Aleem, and they still won 15 games. I should have learned it last year. But I got that PTSOL, that post-traumatic same old Lions, just waiting for some bad shit to happen. Damn you! Damn you, Scuba Steve! But they did it again. They go grab a dishwasher and a guy that was driving a cab. Get out there and play some secondary. Shut down Mike Evans. Okay. All right. Didn't think that was going to work, and it did. That right there should give Lion fan way more confidence than, yes, obviously sign your good players. The ones that we know that are good, we want to sign them. I get that. That's easy. That's the frosting on top of the cake. You want to find good players and re-sign them. But when you can find, UDFAs like Alquadine Muhammad, like Tyrus Wheat, Nick Whiteside, and Harper, you got these, and you can get these guys to come in and play, and they can play just as good as your starters, or in last week's case, better. I'm glad that Branch admitted it. I'm glad that Branch admitted that the undrafted free agents and the guys that they brought in off the practice squad played better than him and Kirby and Terrion. The ones that we put our trust in, the backups came in and showed them that being fundamentally sound is better, can be better than somebody that's just got all the physical attributes. Because from what a cornerback can do, Terrion Arnold should be running all the way up and running circles around Nick Whiteside just from pure talent alone, but he didn't, because Nick Whiteside plays the game. He plays the defense that Calvin Shepard does. He does what he's supposed to do. He is in the right spot at the right time. He knows how to play man coverage without getting the penalty. So, man, that was a 20-minute rant. That was good. I was feeling pretty good on that one. But I don't know if Jeremy B has seen some of my stuff on here, but I'm gonna end up closing this stuff out right here with some of my good babies that are in there. But this is the Lion Villain Report. Hutchinson got paid. Lions playing the Vikings at home on Sunday. Oh, yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, the 313 Villain Squad. That's the UDFA, yeah, of Sports Podcasting, yeah. Find them on YouTube, yeah. Find them on Facebook, yeah. The UDFA, yeah, the top rope, the top of Ford Field. The Macho Man's going to climb up, and yeah, he's going to deliver the Macho Man elbow right there. Justin Jefferson, you're going to get one. 1, 2, 3, yeah, dig it. This episode is brought to you by Fanatics.com. Yeah, that's right. If you are rocking with the 313 and you bleed Honolulu blue, then you need to gear up like the real one over at Fanatics. That's right. Whether it's Lions jerseys, Tigers jerseys, championship belts, man, even if you like one of those crappy other teams from the North, like the Bears and the Packers and the Vikings, you can use that QR code right there. Save up to 25% off of your order. Every click supports this channel and the page and lets the world know that Detroit fans, they do it bigger and they do it better. The Villain Squad don't do knockoffs. We do official. We do Fanatics. Get yours. Connect with us. Connect with me on all of the social medias right here. If you're a fan of Detroit fans right here, if you're a fan of Detroit sports, and you like doing a little bit of trash talk, then you need to connect with me right here. Liking, commenting, and sharing. That helps us get up in the algorithm. I appreciate anybody that does that. And we're over 93,000 on the Facebook page. Just crossed over 1,000 on the YouTube page. Things are rolling. Wherever you scroll, the villain rolls. That's right. And it's faith, family, then football on here. We use football. We don't let football change us. Use football to spend time with your family and create memories. Don't let football use you. And may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. And if you haven't seen the babies yet, I'm about ready to play these guys for you. So God bless you guys. See you in the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I stand here as counsel to your reigning, defending, undisputed NFC North champion, the Detroit Lions, and my client, Aidan Hutchinson. 4 years, $180 million, $141 million guaranteed, and every single penny of it earned. Now I know what you're thinking, but Paul, Micah Parsons got more from the Packers. And to that I say, who cares? That just means my client feels winning is more important than being the highest paid. Since being drafted second overall in 2022, Hutch has been taking QBs to Suplex City, racking up sacks and pressures. Sewell, McNeil, Amon-Ra, Barnes, Kirby, J-Mo, and now Hutchinson, locked in through 2030. Detroit isn't renting stars anymore. We're forging legends. Because in this city, we don't do glitz. We do grind. We don't raise divas. We raise purebred lions. And Hutch, he understands that the mission stays the same. Bringing that Lombardi to the 313. And in February, that's gonna happen. And that right there isn't a prediction, my friends. That's a spoiler.
Well, let me tell you something, Villain Squad. The Detroit Lions woke up this morning and peed excellence. I mean, straight up championship grade, American-made excellence. The Vikings, well, they can be a lot of things. They can be second, third, maybe even fourth, but you can't be first because that right there is for the Lions. I can see it now. A massive lion with a mane so big it blocks out the sun, draped in the American flag, singing some lead vocals at a Leonard Skinner concert right before kickoff. And every note shakes the turf at Ford Field. That's the kind of energy coming Sunday. That's just the opening act, and the headliner is Jared Goff owning that Brian Flores defense, shake and bake. If you ain't first, you'll last.
Let me tell you something, Daddy. The Minnesota Vikings can trot out Carson Wentz. They can trot out young J.J. McCarthy. They can trot out Joe Montana's ghost if they want to, but it ain't gonna matter, baby. Because when that Honolulu Blue freight train gets rolling, they ain't no stopping it, if you will. Justin Jefferson, the shiny diamond of Minnesota, about to get clamped down again by my man Amik Robertson. The man don't just talk that talk, Daddy. He walks it, struts it, and styles it with that swagger from the Motor City. And Jared Goff, oh, he's got full ownership, baby. Full ownership of that Brian Flores defense. He's playing chess while they're out there still learning checkers, if you know what I'm saying. The Detroit Lions are rolling like a Cadillac with chrome wheels and a championship engine. And Daddy, the road to the NFC North runs straight through Motown.